to Bookish Brie X. My name is Brianna, and for today's video, it will be a Halloween reading vlog. It is Friday, the 29th of October, so from now up until the end of Halloween on Sunday night, I will be filming, and it will be with all things relating to Halloween. I'll be carving pumpkins and dressing up. For this Halloween edition reading vlog, it's not going to be primarily focused on reading. I will be reading a few graphic novels and listening to some spooky stories. More than anything, this is going to be a documentation of the fun Halloween activities that I'd like to get up to this weekend. Joel and I are dressing up as Wirt and Greg from Over the Garden Wall, so for tomorrow and Sunday we will be in those costumes. Yes, I'm very excited. It's really fun to be filming in the graveyard. I'm going to get started on this book, if you can see it. It is Edgar Allan Poe's Tales of Death and Dementia. Get yourself a cup of pumpkin tea or a pumpkin spice latte and settle in for a spooky reading vlog. Hello friends, it is now about 9:30 on Friday evening, and I've not done too many spooky things since I last updated you. I went to Waterstones and I didn't get home until a little after 5. I read the Edgar Allan Poe book, I read The Oblong Box, and I read The Telltale Heart. So those were two really good stories. I did a bit of a peruse around the store and I walked through the lanes, which is the bit of Brighton that's really nice and pretty. This evening Joel went to the pub with a friend after work, and so while he was there I was just editing a vlog that's going up in a couple weeks. It's a Gothic reading vlog where I read The Blood of a Vampire and I read The Final Girl support group, and both of those were really good and I had a really good time editing that video. So I've spent a couple hours editing videos, and by the time Joel got home we had dinner together. And this evening I have a really groovy new Kindle purchase. It is a Halloween box set with a bunch of literature that's in the public domain, and it has so many authors. It has probably 50 authors, and on my Kindle it says the approximate reading time for different books, and for this one it is 422 hours, so it's quite a long one. It's nothing that I expect to read in full, but just because there's so many short stories and also novels attached, I can kind of pick and choose whenever I want to. They're just all downloaded on my Kindle. So I'm going to do some cleaning, and then once that's done I think I will read in bed, considering I'd like to have an early start. I know tomorrow is going to be a much more Halloween focused day. In the morning we will carve pumpkins, and I would also like to make a homemade pumpkin spice latte. I did that a couple weeks ago and it turned out really well. However, I only had a few sips of it and I was filming a video and I ended up spilling it all over the floor. There's still a stain, so this time I will not be setting it on the floor, but I will make one tomorrow. I think that'd be really nice. And we have ghost crumpets, so I might have that for breakfast. I am excited to wear our costumes tomorrow, but as I'm giving this update, I am just so incredibly sleepy. So I'm going to listen to my Over the Garden Wall playlist while I clean. I'll have a shower, fill up my hot water bottles, do the usual brush my teeth, wash my face, and get into bed and start one of my stories. And tomorrow I will let you know what I read. Good night. Hello, it is now Saturday morning. I had about half of Halloween 2, the 1981 movie with Jamie Lee Curtis, and I watched that while I was getting ready, and then we also have carved pumpkins. So I do have a teapot on my head as part of my costume. I have little Froggy, and under my coat I have overalls, and we're about to go into town to get a few bits for Joel's costume. This morning I sewed on buttons for his cape. We thought he had a white button-down shirt, but we can't find it, so we have to go to a charity shop to find a white shirt. We need to get paper for a red hat and a safety pin to hold his cape together. So we're going into town. I'll be wearing my costume and Joel will be wearing his normal clothes. I hope somebody recognizes that I'm Greg from Over the Garden Wall, but we will see. I will take you. Joel's making a bunch of noise in the kitchen. I will take you along with us. I'm going to take my book Lore, Dreadful Places. It's a collection of short stories. I think they are the transcripts for the Lore episodes, and they're really fun and short, and so I'm going to take this, since my priority this weekend isn't really to do a bunch of reading, but to just have an overall spooky time. I figured this would be a good thing because it's quite easy to just pick up one story and then put it down, and so yes, I will speak to you again soon. Bye! It's been a couple hours since I updated you. We went in town and picked up a few supplies for Joel's Halloween costume, and we went to a craft fair, and I found these pumpkin earrings for only £3, which I thought was a very good deal. I took my hair down because it started to hurt being up. I'll speak to you again in a little while. I just wanted to show you my earrings. Hello, it is now Saturday night, and I've not given you too many updates today, but after coming back from in town, I made pumpkin bread. I'm not going to show any clips of that because I sort of failed. I ended up accidentally turning the oven too high because when you walk past, the knob can turn up, and so the outside burnt and the inside was really gooey, so it wasn't really a success. After that, Joel and I had dinner together. We watched an episode of Over the Garden Wall. We only have one episode left, so we'll probably save that for tomorrow. We're now about to leave for a party. I've really not done very much reading today. Joel and I were at the library for a little bit earlier, around midday. I read only about half of a story from the lore book. Yes, when I was baking, I watched a little bit of Hocus Pocus. I'm only about 20 minutes in, but it is a very good movie. I've seen it before. It's quintessentially very Halloween, and so that was nice. I didn't have to pay too much attention to it, but it was good to have on in the background. And Joel and I are about to take our Halloween photo, so we're going to do a timer for the photo, and we're going to hold up our pumpkins. This is mine. Yes, I'll see you in a bit. Happy Halloween! So it's been a while since I updated you. I think I tend to have more success with updating regularly if it's during the week. Over the weekend, having Joel home, I tend to not film as much, but he is in the kitchen cooking, so I figure now is a good time to just catch you up on what we've been up to this weekend. Since I think the last time I gave you an update was last night. And last night we went to a party. It was really nice. We had to take a bus there. It was much further than we thought. It would have been an hour and a half walk, and it was raining. So we took a bus, and I read on the bus there and back. It was really a fun party. I've found that people in England tend to not celebrate Halloween as excessively as Americans do, and so it was nice going to a party where everyone was dressed up and there were decorations. It was nice to have a proper Halloween party. And nobody at the party knew who we were dressed up as. Somebody thought I was a character from Alice in Wonderland because I had a teacup or a teapot on my head. I did have a couple of people stop us in the street who said nice costumes, and so it was nice having some recognition of our characters. We ended up staying out rather late. We didn't go to sleep until after 1 o'clock, which is quite rare for us. I tend to be in bed in between 9 and 10 at night. And so yeah, we were out much later. But because it was daylight savings, we had an extra hour for Halloween, so even though we woke up at 9, it was really 8 o'clock. So that worked out well. So today has been a really fun-filled day. I haven't gotten an incredible amount of footage, but we did go for a walk and catch some leaves. We decided not to dress up today, since we dressed up yesterday. The teapot on top of my head really wasn't that comfortable. I love the outfit, but it was nice to just wear it for one day. So today I've been much more casual, just wearing my pumpkin earrings. We went to an area called Seven Dials, and we went to a couple cafes around there. The first place, Joel had a Biscoff donut and I had a Biscoff latte. And at the second place, I had a pumpkin spice latte and Joel had a gingerbread latte. So he went for a more Christmassy drink, which is very strange on Halloween. We also went to a vegan Halloween market, and so there were lots of like Halloween treats and books and food, and so that was really nice. We got a few vegetables. Tonight we're having a Korean inspired bento box, and so Joel's in the kitchen making that now. And yes, we've really just had a very casual Halloween. Here's my sweet pumpkin that I made. I kind of inspired it off of the pumpkin for the original Halloween movie from 1978 with like this little slit right here. But we only have really big knives, and so it was hard to make any detail in our pumpkins. So this is as close as it gets. But I absolutely love the way it looks having the tea light in there. I had it sitting right next to our bed last night, and it was so nice. It was so nice falling asleep to the pumpkin. And there's Joel's back there. It has his hat on from his costume, and I've been keeping the teacup on top of mine. So even though we're not wearing our costumes, our pumpkins are. And last night I started a book called Carmilla. The author of Carmilla is J. Sheridan LaFanu. I'm probably not saying that right. It sounds French. It's a Gothic from 1872, and I will read the synopsis for it. Carmilla is the original vampire story, steeped with the sexual tension between two young women and a Gothic romance. In an isolated castle deep in the Austrian forest, teenage Laura leads a solitary life with only her father, attendant and a tutor for company. Until one moonlit night, a horse-drawn carriage crashes into view, carrying an unexpected guest, the beautiful Carmilla. So begins a feverish friendship between Laura and her entrancing new companion, one defined by mysterious happenings and infused with an implicit but undeniable eroticism. As Carmilla becomes increasingly strange and volatile, prone to eerie, nocturnal wanderings, Laura finds herself tormented by nightmares and growing weaker by the day. I picked it up because it's not too long. It's in my edition. It's only a little less than 100 pages, and so I figured it would be a good thing to read over this weekend. I didn't want to feel forced to do a bunch of reading because we had so many non-reading activities to do, and I really like the slow Gothic feel to it. In recent months, I've just been obsessed with classics. When I was younger, I used to love classics, and ever since, for about 10 years, on and off, I would read classics every once in a while, but in recent months, it's pretty much been all that I've read. Yes, I do apologize that I've not done too much updating so far this weekend. I feel that this vlog isn't quite as cohesive as some of my other vlogs. It's still really lovely to document my Halloween and to be able to look back on this video. I think that's the thing that I'm finding so nice about these reading vlogs. It's really nice being able to capture different parts of my life and being able to document. It feels kind of like a video journal of my day-to-day, and I've really enjoyed this so far, especially with a lot of my family living in the US and me here in the UK. It's nice to be able to share this with them, especially Emily. Hi, Emily, my little sister, and so it's been really fun to make these, quite a treat. And Joel and I are going to be moving away from Brighton in just a couple weeks, and so it's also nice to get shots of all of the different architecture and places that we love to visit. So it'll be a nice little memory capsule. But anyway, I will take a few more snapshots of the evening. I'll talk to you in a bit. Again, it is now a few days later. It's the 3rd of November, it's Wednesday, and I just wanted to close out this video. I didn't get very much reading done, which I was expecting. However, I did have a feeling that I was becoming a bit slumpy, and my reason for that, I think I've realized, is because I was reading so many classic books. In the past 2 months, I've pretty much only had classic literature be my genre, especially Victorian literature. And so on Tuesday, just yesterday, I started reading A Kind of Spark. So over the weekend, I ended up not reading very much. I read a couple of Edgar Allan Poe stories, I read a couple of lore stories, and I read the first few chapters of Carmilla, which I was really enjoying, and I do want to come back to it. It was a great read. I do love slow Gothic literature, and so that's right up my alley. But because I think I was becoming a bit slumpy with Victorian classic literature, I needed to take a bit of a break from that. So even though the next two videos you'll see after this, so for the 12th and I think the 19th of November, I will be posting vlogs based on Victorian literature, so that those videos have already been filmed. That's why they'll be coming out. But I think from now on, for the time being, I'm going to steer clear of that. I will definitely come back to Victorian literature. There's no question about that. But yesterday, Tuesday, the 2nd of November, I started reading A Kind of Spark, and it was exactly what I needed. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was cozy, it was exactly what I needed when I was reading it. I read it all of yesterday. A couple hours before bed, I only had about 30 pages left, and I just kept putting off reading the ending because I didn't want it to end. Joel and I are moving in a couple of weeks. I think with moving comes a lot of stress and the unknown of what we're going to be doing. We're putting all of our things in Joel's parents' house, and we're going to tour the north of England to decide where we want to move to. But with that, I think comes a bit of emotional exhaustion, and because of that, I think A Kind of Spark was perfect for me. With it being a middle grade, with a very lovable main character, it was just so heartwarming. I will read the back of this novel, and I think a lot of people should read this. It is a neurodivergent author and a neurodivergent main character. Our main character, Addie, is autistic, and it was very insightful to read this book. My sister-in-law, Sarah, recommended this novel to me, and it's one of her favorites, so I'm really happy that I got around to reading it. If anything, I wish I read it sooner, but yesterday was the perfect day. I read on the beach for a couple hours, and then I read on the couch with a cup of tea, and it was a really cold night, and reading it was really warm, and I felt so immersed in this novel. It was the sort of book that was very visual for me, and so every time I was reading it, even though it's not a very long book, being a middle grade, I really felt like I got to know the characters, and all of the characters had a lot of life. So yes, if you take anything away from this video, it's that Halloween is the best, but it's also that you should read this book. And so I'll read the back of it just so you have an idea of what it's about. Other people's minds are small. Your mind is enormous. You don't want to be like other people. Addie knows exactly who she is. Addie knows that sharks are more interesting than dolphins. She knows her favorite words in the thesaurus, and she knows that her older sisters are opposites. And when Addie learns about the witch trials that happened in her hometown, she knows there's more to the story of these witches, just like there's more to her. As Addie tries to get her small town to make a memorial for the witches, can she challenge the way they see her? A Kind of Spark is a story about courage, friendship, and what it means to be different. And it does fit well with the Halloween weekend vlog because it is about the witch trials in Juniper, Scotland, right near Edinburgh. So yes, I would say it sort of fit into the theme of this vlog as well. And I loved it. And because I loved A Kind of Spark, I ended up going to Waterstones today to pick up another book by the author. This is Show Us Who You Are. Here it is. And because it was a half-price deal at Waterstones, I picked up one other book, The Howling Hag Mystery. So another middle grade novel. I also have a few books on my Kindle that are middle grade, and I think this is going to be the new genre that I focus on for a little while. I think the genre is quite calming and easy to take in when my mind is racing a million miles a minute with thinking about the move and our trips. So yes, I think I will likely film a readathon where I read one book each day for a week, and they'll be all middle grade. I think that'd be a fun thing to do, and I might start tomorrow, but the video wouldn't come out until the end of November. So stay tuned for that. And I really appreciate anyone who made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining. If you liked this video, please do subscribe. I upload videos every Friday, and It's been such a treat taking you along for my Halloween weekend, and the ending really was the best part of my reading experience. So, yes, thank you, and I will see you again next week. Bye!